And welcome back to the Weekly Tech Round with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
Episode 237, February 2026. Well, actually, we're nearly the end of February 26. It's ridiculous. I don't know where
it's flying.
time goes. I've come to the conclusion we must be circling a black hole.
The time's gone in the vortex of plane travel. Which sucks all the hours out of you.
It's just like I'm looking at the calendar and I'm looking at where we are in our schedule of kind of shows and stuff, and it's like, what is going on?
I know. It's been a crazy couple of months to start the year off. There's been, as you said, there's been tons of travel, and it's just kind of mucked up the schedule, hasn't it?
There has, and there's loads more travel coming too, because we've got some big events coming. Mobile Congress is a big event coming up. We've got the RSA conference, which is also later in March. Then before you know it, it'll be Easter, and it just be like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
But that being said, again.
Oh well, that's what I mean. I'm on holiday. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm on Easter holiday. Oh, and then before you know it, it'll be summer. Oh. Anyway, that being said, we have got a packed show for you this week. We've got loads of stories to talk about. A few links between them. It's about Rumoured. He's even got a couple of things floating around it too. We've skimmed the fat off the top and found a couple of tasty morsels floating around underneath, haven't we?
We have indeed.
But let's kick off then with before we go any further, Star Trek, the new Star Trek Voyager game came out on Steam this week, didn't it?
It has. I bought it. I've installed
it.
You
did.
I've not played it.
Across the
I haven't had the time.
I have played it.
Yes.
I've sunk a couple of hours into it. We talked about this when it came out, when the demo was released. I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, wasn't it? I think.
It was. Yeah, August, September time, wasn't it?
Yeah. So basically, this is a strategy game where you are having to look after the the USS Voyager as it makes its journey back from the Delta Quadrant to the Alpha Quadrant, and basically it's a resource management game ultimately, isn't it? It's you've got to find stuff.
It follows the story generally of the TV show, doesn't it? Or at least key moments I've seen at the beginning. Obviously, the demo was only the first couple of levels, but it's all about managing the resources of Voyager and typical resource management game, but it seems quite good so far.
It is very good. I'm really enjoying it. There's already DLC for it. Have you seen that?
Well, there was a standard and a deluxe pack, wasn't there, which had the DLC. It's a couple of extra missions and characters and stuff. So,
but I have I've been playing for a couple of hours. I've managed to escape the demo bit. I've also managed. I don't realize how I did it, but I've also managed to lose Chakotay, Paris, and Tuvok.
Well, you'll do well.
I don't know what
happened.
Lose
as in killed, or
turns out they got left behind on an away mission, and I don't remember doing it. So I'm not entirely sure what I must have pressed where it went so badly wrong.
Or is this too late?
Well, I'm in a different sector now, so I'm a bit concerned.
You've lost half the cast.
Yes, apparently you can recruit other heroes because they're kind of those core crew classed as heroes.
They are.
So I was a bit like, where have they gone?
Your resource management is rubbish, clearly.
Yeah. So so I just was a bit like, oh my god. But anyway, that has come out. It is very good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm sure there'll be many more hours of gameplay ahead of it. But yes, I'm not entirely sure what's gone wrong, and I don't want to go back to that save because I've moved on a couple of saves since. So I'm now worried that I've got no decent heroes for later on in life.
Oh dear.
Yes. Oh dear, indeed. Okay, right. Let's kick off the first story of the week. So, did you know on the 1st of April this year, it'll be 50 years since Apple was incorporated as a company?
Well, I didn't until I saw the news article, but I hadn't realised it was actually 50 years.
And Tim Apple has said himself that they are going to celebrate it. Now, we don't know what that means, but Tim has teased, isn't he, that there's going to be some celebration, and they've been very reflective, according to a quote with him, which was picked up by, of course, the one and only Mark Gurman. And he was saying that there's 50 years. His words were an extraordinary accomplishment, and we've been going back through old archives, old photos, and basically reminiscing and the product services. And he's basically struck how much Apple has changed the world and given to the world. I thought to myself, he's probably got a point, isn't he? It has really it's upended, you know, a lot of technology. It may not be
Yes.
the first to create technology, as we've often talked about, but Apple have found a niche in refining and becoming the leader, haven't they? But yeah, it's quite impressed with this. So what do you reckon?
Yeah, but look, I don't want to be that. Apple don't generally celebrate these kind of things. So I think that, yeah, I think the article said they had one for the 30 years of Mac back in 2014, but that's really about the only kind of celebration of their history. They seem, as Tim himself said, they're quite a forward-thinking company. So looking back was kind of a deliberate challenge.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, they obviously have got a long history to look at,
They
haven't
have,
they? And
yep.
things that they can say that they've done well. And from a product perspective, yeah, there's been some failures. So there's been some yeah,
Oh
things
yes,
have gone wrong, but that doesn't mean that they, you know, we know that sometimes success comes later. You know, look at the iPhone, look at the Mac, those kind of things as well, isn't it? But
yeah,
I'm sure whatever they do, they're going to have to dwell on the legacy of Steve Jobs and of course Wozniak as well
of
to
course.
the company.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way you can do that without mentioning those two.
Do you know what I'd love to see? And I'd love to see some interviews with people like Steve Wozniak and others in the style of the Apple keynotes, because you know that would just, you know, because they
Oh,
do
that'd
it
be
so
quite
well,
good.
don't they?
Yeah,
They've got
yeah.
such a great production team. It'd be amazing to see how that comes out. And
Yeah, very
you
high
know,
end kind of video. Yeah, I can imagine.
yeah,
Like I say, the whole production team's doing this, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But look, we'll probably just get a new wallpaper and that'll be it.
I like that. We're going to do wallpaper. I like a new wallpaper, and there'll be an Apple. Although you know you've missed it as well. There'll be an Apple. There'll be a new Apple Watch band.
Yes, there will. Yes, of course.
But yeah, so I'd be interested to see. I'm guessing things will happen coming soon. You know, we should probably get more on that to come soon, and I'm guessing Apple will make a big deal of it on their website. But of
I'm
course,
guessing there's
as
not going
that
to be any
comes up,
special products.
oh, I don't know. We'll talk about more products in just a second, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. You know, like you say, watch out for the wallpaper. I'm sure that'll be coming next. All right. So on that point, then you mentioned products there. So there has
Yeah.
been an announcement for a brand new special. I don't want to call it an event, but an announcement that Apple will be doing something on the March the 4th, won't they?
Well, yeah, they've called it a special Apple experience. Okay, not an event. They're going to hold it in New York City, but they're going to have separate gatherings for press in Shanghai and London. I presume that's all gather in one room. We'll put it on a big
It's got
screen
to be,
rather
isn't
than
it? Yeah.
individual events. But yeah, look, we've got quite a few potential announcements here, haven't we? So we're still expecting the low-cost MacBook, the one with the phone chip in it, the A18 Pro.
I'm really personally, I'm really keen on this. You know,
You'll be sitting there with a credit card ready to buy, yeah.
well, I'll come back to that in a second, but yeah, yeah.
We should be getting an M5 MacBook Air. Obviously, finally, the M5 Pro and M5 Max MacBook Pro models, because we've obviously had the standard M5 released, but not the Pro and Max versions. Allegedly, some new Mac displays. Whether there'll be any decent sizing or still like 27-inch maximum, who knows? Of course, the 17E we've been talking about. And then maybe there's rumors of an A18 original iPad, you know, the base iPad,
Yeah.
and an M4 iPad Air.
On this point, so I think, you know, we know, as you say, they've got these three, I guess, what they're going to be simultaneous events to a degree, aren't they, within
Yes.
time zones that Apple are going to run. We know it's not going to be a keynote event like the September iPhone event, but
No.
I think what we're looking at, as you say, isn't it, is a week of press releases and then this hands-on event in the middle. Is that what you reckon?
Maybe. I mean, a special experience.
Yeah, but they can't do all of this in one go. Part of me thinks that things like the M5 MacBook Air, the new Pro models, they can all be press releases, because unless something has fundamentally changed in the chassis or which I don't think it will have done, then
No.
they could do, you know, they could do that. And I think you're right. The iPhone 17e again is just a marked upgrade from the 16e.
Yeah.
My view is that that's what we're looking at here. Could be a week of press releases with the hands on for the journalists.
Yeah,
And
it could well be. I don't know what to expect, really.
Well, I mean, like you, I'm curious to know what comes out. I'm also curious to know what they were. bring out when it comes to the devices. The only one that really leaps out at me, I think, as a proper new device, or two, is the new displays, obviously.
Yep.
I think those are the ones when I kind of ponder on it, and I think the other one would be the low-cost MacBook, which we've talked about at length.
Yeah.
Those are genuinely new things, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, look, I've got an M4 MacBook Air. I do not feel compelled to get an M5 one in the slightest way.
No.
Maybe an M7 one at some point, but I feel no need. It does more than enough for what I need. Yes, it could be a bit smaller, a bit size, a bit lighter.
Yes, that's a valid
MacBook
point.
Air is no longer light as air. It's quite heavy-ish. It's not the same as an M5, a MacBook Pro, but it's still fairly heavy.
And that's the thing. I've got the M4 MacBook Pro here, and I love it. And a bit like you, I don't need an M5 one because I went from the M1 to the M4, and that was like going from a Ford Fiesta to a Ferrari in terms of performance. The M1, but that was like saying that the M1 at this time was a high end machine, and it was. So I think that. But I'm very curious about this low cost MacBook as a travel device. Sometimes where I don't need.
Would it do enough? And is it cheap enough to make it a travel only kind of device?
And for
me,
me,
what do you really need? You need a web browser,
SaaS
play
apps,
some video, SaaS. It's all SaaS apps. Play some video, a bit of office work. That's all you need.
Yeah, and that's what I want is
an insane battery life.
Well, this is Apple. You're going to get that.
Yeah, but if I took the same size battery you've got pound in the year and only had an A18 chip in it, it could be days. You know what I mean?
But then will you get the reduction in weight, which I don't think you will.
No, probably not.
But I'm very curious about it, I have to say. There's also rumors of the three or four colors that could come in, isn't it? Which includes the colors that are shown in the invitation. So if you notice there's like a yellow, there's like a green, and there's like a light blue.
Yeah.
Now, they could also be the colors for the iPhone 17e, for all we know.
I suspect more than likely it's for the 17e. I can't imagine a bright green MacBook. But
no, but I'm thinking, I'm thinking you could end up with the rose gold, the light dark grey, the silver. Maybe the blue, that came out of the same colours that basically out the iPad. That would be possible.
Yeah, like you got in the Airs, yeah.
So I'm curious on that point. And you said about buying more. If I'm going over to the US late March, I think by then they'll be out. I will have an opportunity to go into the Apple Store in Union Square in San Francisco and have a look. And ultimately, if I buy one, will it be any cheaper? Possibly not, but at least I can get hands on with it.
Well, I suspect I don't know what the tax is in California. I bet it's still cheaper than 20% VAT.
Well.
And the dollar's not doing so great right now, so
it might be all right.
Pounds.
It might be all right. But yes, so March the 4th, then Apple special event. We will bring all of the latest news once that comes out. That's also the Week of Mobile Congress as well. Interestingly,
it is. Yes.
So yeah, we'll go from there. But anyway, we'll be back once that's all out and all the news is here. And if there's any more rumors before then, we'll get them to you as well. All right, so a bit of a change of pace then. So you use WhatsApp. We both use. I don't use Telegram. We both use WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Would you say that that they are extremist organisations?
What, Meta? Yeah, 110%. I would.
Well, Telegram's not Meta though, is it? Telegram is
no. But WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram are.
So Russia has blocked both WhatsApp and Telegram as they have decreed Meta as an extremist organisation. But Telegram's a weird one because Telegram, a lot of Russians use Telegram, don't they? And we know that from a lot of the intelligence
shot themselves in the foot, haven't they? Because I had heard that it's caused some angst against among Russian soldiers at the fact they do use Telegram to coordinate their special military operation.
Yeah, I was going to say
the war in Ukraine. They're using it for communication and to send and receive orders and stuff like that, which they're no longer doing apparently.
Well, they're also, they've been punished, I should say, by the lack of Starlink as well, because that's gone now. They managed to somehow block that. So that is something that's also, so another form of communication that's going down if they take out Telegram. I think you're right, could hamper their special operation, which is, don't get me wrong, no bad thing.
No, no,
But
that wasn't the plan
you
of
know,
the Russian government. Really, it was
no,
to get them off the end-to-end encrypted apps like WhatsApp and all the Western apps, WhatsApp, Telegram. They're all end-to-end encrypted, and force them to use Max, which is their homegrown, unencrypted, should we say, WeChat
of course.
clone, where all messages sent and received can be read by the government.
Cue surprise! Woo!
Yeah, you wonder why people haven't signed up in droves and would rather stick with WhatsApp and Telegram. So, Russia's trying to force this by blocking it now.
And they're also something here that around these apps in Russia is that they're also trying to force people to a super app. Isn't it? I don't know if that's still Max as well or a different one, but
I think
again,
it is Max. It's that, yeah,
blocking a lot of the app stores, isn't it? All those kind
because
of
it's a
things.
WeChat clone, and WeChat does everything, does it? It does payments and all sorts of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
So, yeah, a bit crazy. But hey, it's Russia, so what were we expecting?
Well, let's be honest. What we're expecting here is Putin to control everything and wants to know everything because they're terrified about dissidents, aren't they? And
Well,
people
exactly. Yeah,
trying to take
it's a
away from it.
great firewall of Russia, just like China.
Yeah, but unlike the Chinese, this one's got quite a lot of holes in it. So,
Well, yeah, it has, yes.
but I think let's be honest. The move to call them an extremist organization isn't probably a crazy one. Telegram has had bad press in the last year or so, anyway, hasn't it? Wasn't the founder of Telegram fled to was it Paris and got arrested there, didn't he?
Oh,
Around
yes, there
something
was
else.
some hoo-ha, wasn't there?
Yeah, and again, they obviously they're in a lot of hot water because there is a lot of CSAM going on as they're being shared on Telegram because of the
Yep.
encrypted piece and a lot of the unregulated aspects of it, which we're not going to go to here, but there's a few dodgy areas, isn't it, in that particular app
Yeah.
ecosystem. But that being said, Russia here are doing nothing that we were surprised of. But on the other hand, it's certainly laughable given one of them is used quite
Hampered
heavily.
some operations there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Next story. It's back from our good friends at the CMA. I mean, it's been a while since we've heard of them, isn't it?
It has.
I can honestly say I wasn't expecting this. So some point last year, the CMA declared Apple and Google were a duopoly with strategic market status in mobile platform markets, so app stores, think. Basically making them subject to special regulations. However, they've now gone on to state they will not regulate Google and Apple's app stores like the EU has done. There is a catch. Instead, they plan to enforce their own digital markets rules in a pragmatic way by accepting commitments from Apple and Google in areas like app reviews, app rankings, data usage, and interoperability processes. So they've said these are more akin to suggestions, with commitments not being legally binding. Although they did say that basically, if Apple and Google don't hold up their side of the
I like
commitment,
that.
there will be actual legal ramifications. All right.
I like that. Now, what we want you to do is just behave nicely, play by the rules, and if you
Yeah.
don't, then we're going to come along and give you a slap.
Yeah, we'll get the stick out. Here's the carrot.
Yeah,
Here's
and
the
it does
stick.
feel a bit. It does feel a bit like here. Look, it's just look right now. Just behave. We haven't got the energy all the time to really drag you through the mud. Which
But do
for
you think
change.
this is our government stroke CMA
Well, I'm
trying
glad
to
you brought
pander
that
to
up.
the US?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think you're right. There may be some backdoor diplomacy going on here that is being like just be don't be poking around with our tech companies that make a lot of money and XYZ. Stop being the awkward one. And
Stop the
given
attack dog, the CMA.
yeah, and given the recent political fallout between our governments, the US and the UK, over the US bases in Diego Garcia and other places, I'm not surprised. It
Yeah,
is.
so the
It is.
governments have to rein them in a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a bit of a weird one here. It just seems like all of a sudden we're like, no, not a problem anymore. Whereas actually, that wasn't the messaging, was it? That was coming out at all.
No, the CMA was very much on full attack mode, especially around Apple. And this is, very, very surprising to see this change of tune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the other problem here is as well is that the European regulators are not holding back, are they? They certainly are going forward and ensuring that they get their £2 flash, as it were.
Exactly. Yeah.
just yeah.
We're backing down and playing it safe.
We are indeed. We are indeed. Well, there you are. No surprise there. Probably, like you say, the man with the orange complexion may or may not have provided some words to his advisors to go say, behave.
And it will make no difference to what he does, whether we do
Yeah, of
this
course
or not. No, because we're part of Europe, apparently. Let's not go down that route, man. That's a whole other story. But yeah,
oh dear.
From his point of view, we're all the same.
Well, indeed. Right. Let's talk about something different. So, can you afford a Ferrari?
Toy, maybe.
Excellent.
Real?
So
you've working
probably
definitely not.
You've probably seen in the news that Johnny Ive and his company Love From, isn't it?
Yes.
Who have announced alongside a partnership alongside Ferrari that they have designed I believe it's just the interior, isn't it, of the new Ferrari?
The interior of Ferrari's new, certainly new, their first EV.
The Lucy. Is it Luce or Lucy? I can't.
Lucy? I want to say Luce. I want to say Lucy. Yeah.
Lucy. And I mean, at the moment, there's renders on this. You can go to the Ferrari website, it's in the show notes. You can go to a website and you can see the interior of it. And at the moment, it's kind of looks like a cockpit, isn't it? The two seats and the controls. But wow, I mean, it screams Johnny Ive, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
It does. Yeah. Say there's lots of images and videos on the website, so go have a look. But it does look very, very nice. And surprisingly, it's not one giant iPad or multiple iPads, is it? The majority of the controls, the ones you actually touch, your volume, your climate control, the physical buttons that are important, are actual real buttons and not a touch screen or what's the ones you get on the BMWs now? They look like buttons. They're capacitive touch buttons, aren't they? But you don't get the same tactile feedback from a real button. So these are all real buttons, and they're very tastefully done. Some of them are cut. It does have a large central touchscreen in the middle, but some of these physical controls are embedded in that, aren't they? They cut through the glass and has a real physical control in there.
I have to say, I was looking at that central console, as you say, and at the top of it, there's even like a dial, isn't there, as well? That's kind of built
like
into
a giant
it.
Apple Watch. I can't get it out of my head. It's got a crown.
It's a crown. They've built in like almost like say the chronometers and that kind of stuff that is physical, as you say, but in this part of the touchscreen mechanism. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of amazing technology that's gone into it. And that can be moved left or right depending on the driver or the co-pilot, as they call it, to look at the screen as well.
Yep.
Just amazing work. But yeah, you're right. He is very much saying that touchscreens are the wrong thing, aren't they, for cars?
Yeah. He had an interview and he basically argued that touchscreens basically require drivers to look away from the road, which is inherently unsafe for the main vehicle functions. Whereas physical switches have distinct tactile feedback that allows drivers to operate them without even looking. And so he basically goes and suggests that this widescreen adoption of touchscreen cars is really driven by a trend and fashion rather than solutions to a specific problem. You know what? I 110% agree. He's right.
Yeah.
I've had my car. I have a BMW 1 Series, and I've had several generations of it. The first one I got, while it did have a touch screen, it was a smaller one. Everything else was proper physical buttons, and I could switch between comfort and sports mode without even looking. You could just feel it. And on the new ones, it's roughly in the same location, but it's a capacitive touch button. There's no definition to it. A lot more stuff's in a touch screen, and it's no way near as easy to use. And I do find myself still looking down to find the buttons when I shouldn't be. I should be looking straight forward.
I was funny enough. I was driving the other day, and I was at the screen, and I turned, instead of trying to change, using the iDrive controls, I found myself touching the screen, and I was annoyed at myself because you're right. The iDrive, I should be able to do that with the feel of it, the haptic feedback.
Yeah.
But I just naturally went to touch the screen, and like you say, it's not a good thing to do. And if you look at Teslas and things like that, where there's only a touch screen, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it's there's nothing else at all. You're right, those kind of cars, and a lot of the newer EVs are similar, aren't they, as well? But interestingly, one of the other things was around this. I saw the other day was that China has banned the flush door handles on EVs now.
They have, yes.
Yeah, kind of
safety issue, isn't it?
Pardon? Safety issue, yes.
Safety issue, yeah.
Yeah. So, but a lot of these I think a lot of these innovations that have come down through EVs, I should say, rather than ICE cars, have
Yeah.
have now got to the point where people are going, this maybe technology's gone too fast. Not that we don't want the technology, but maybe the implementation of it isn't perhaps as useful
Yeah,
as we thought it was.
I'm all for a nice, big, fancy touchscreen that looks great, and I can, access all my Spotify and apps and CarPlay on it. But for key car controls, I want a physical button, but I don't have to look to take my eyes off the road to use it.
No, absolutely. Yeah. But I wouldn't. I mean, let's be honest. Neither you or I are going to be worrying about this new Ferrari Lucy. I'm sure we hopefully may get to see it one day in the flesh, a car show or something.
Talking of seeing it, that was the interesting bit. The only photos of this model are
all
all
rendered
the inside. There are no photos of the outside of what this EV looks like.
No, you're right. That's a very.
Who knows what it looks like?
You know what?
It's a Ferrari. I imagine it'll be okay.
Yeah, you are right. You got to make a really good point because actually, that's the thing. All of the things are renders. There's nothing else, is it? It's just renders.
Yep.
So it's a very curious announcement. But fair play to Johnny Ive. He's certainly cemented himself as the world's premier designer and design outfit, really, isn't he?
Yeah. He's done a really good job.
Awesome. All right. So moving on then. Taiwan.
Taiwan, yes. So they've basically come out and said what we've all been thinking, and I think that we've mentioned several times on this show. Its Vice Premier Cheng Li Chun. Sorry, I'm butchering that. She stated that relocating 40% of the country's semiconductor production to the US is impossible. And basically, you can't move the ecosystem they built around it, And I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, but its most advanced technologies will remain domestic, even if it does move, lower end stuff to the US. We've said this before. There's decades and decades of work that have gone into this and building the ecosystem surrounding it, and you just can't pick that up and move it. You can't move the infrastructure, and you don't have the trained people in the US to do this.
This is the whole thing, isn't it? Again, with Trump. I mean, not just Trump, I should argue, because the CHIPS Act came in with Biden, didn't it? Really, before that.
Yeah.
And the US really is so far behind along with other. I should state it isn't the US alone, but we'll look at the US primarily in its view to getting sovereign chip capacity. But the problem is, right, as we've mentioned many times before, Taiwan has been doing this for what, 40, 50, nearly 50 years, isn't it? Really?
They made a decision a long time ago, along with China, to invest in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and nearly 50 years ago, in the late 70s, when this kind of all took off, and they started to realize what they were going to be doing and how they've been. You can't uproot that and just lift and shift it to somewhere else. And expect it's going to work. And the worry, now they're worrying about, obviously, well, hang on a minute, we're getting closer and closer to the impending likelihood of a Chinese invasion. And then what happens? Because China's going to be clever. They're not stupid. China is not going to cut the world off to the semiconductors, because what they'll do is be like, well, hang on a minute, you've got these. So how about we strike some deals, in the words of Trump, isn't it? And off we trot. Yeah. I mean, they could cut the world off, don't get me wrong, but the reality is I think they'll want to strike deals, because they'll be like, well, actually, we can make a lot of money.
Is it more likely the US decides to send missiles at all the factory and blow up the technology so no one else gets their hands on it?
Well, I don't even think they're that stupid. But
do you not? I mean, what evidence have you got to say otherwise?
I mean, the thing is, though, it's what was it? Treasury Secretary Lutnick was quoted as saying, "We need their chips so badly that we'll shield them, we'll protect them." Okay. Correct me if I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know if the US officially recognizes Taiwan as a country yet.
I have no idea where they are on that.
So the US, I know the US established diplomatic relationship with Taiwan in, I think it was the late 70s. And as far as I'm aware, they do not recognize Taiwan as a sovereign state.
Are you sure it's not just the 53rd state after Canada and Greenland?
Yeah, but so I'm saying they don't recognize it as a top, as this sovereign country. Yet they pretty much have said they'll defend it, and that they'll. It's a bizarre scenario, isn't it? Really,
Welcome to the world of politics.
it really is. And that's not, if you say it's not the show for today, but it is a very, very peculiar scenario that we find ourselves in. And given that the US is so heavily dependent in company, well, in Taiwan itself, but particularly with companies like TSMC, that it's a very, very peculiar. I mean, I think it was January this year there was a trade agreement signed, which I think is part of this conversation, isn't it? Which is around the worry, which was basically that basically companies like TSMC would invest up to $250 billion in the US to reduce the 20% tariff export. I mean, to be fair, the US administration is not seeing the bigger picture, I don't think. What's the point of putting tariffs on the country that you need the stuff from? Because that's not going to force them to build fabric units and factories in the US that take 10 years to become fully operational, is it?
Well, not
because
companies like TSMC, because if the US don't buy it, someone else will.
Yeah. Really peculiar. Really peculiar.
Or you'll just get US companies to say, I want my headquarters now in the EU, and I'll do it that way.
Yeah, it's a very, very odd one. But I think, the Taiwanese are not stupid. They know what's happening. They know where this is going. And they're also playing the long game in how do they protect themselves from the inevitable as well.
Of course.
But the mind just boggles, doesn't it, over the view of I guess the short-sightedness of certain people in a certain country.
Yeah. So our next story, actually, short-sightedness and not thinking of the bigger picture. Ring, or Amazon own Ring now, don't they? So the Ring doorbells. They've
I got one of those.
They've abandoned plans for a partnership with the police that would have allowed law enforcement to request doorbell video footage from Ring owners. Now, I think this was only in the US. It was announced during the Super Bowl, wasn't it? But yeah, they initially announced this partnership with a company called Flock Safety. A company that specializes in automated license plate recognition and video surveillance, who work very closely with police. The idea being it would allow police from one system to send a request for doorbell video footage directly to Ring owners. Now, this didn't get the kind of reception that Ring were after, I think. Well, there was a massive backlash.
I don't know why you thought
internet,
that was good.
and the news about privacy concerns. And all of a sudden, Ring has put out a statement saying, in October 2025, Ring of Flock Safety announced our intention to work together on an integration with community requests. But following a comprehensive review, we've determined that the planned Flock Safety integration would require significantly more time and resources than anticipated, and as a result, we have made a joint decision to cancel the planned integration. I mean, rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Somewhere at some point, some of Ring executives thought this was a grand idea, didn't they?
They did.
Look, we can use all these hundreds of thousands of cameras that we've got to basically create 1984. Everything that's fantastic. And by the way, there's another company called Flock, and they do other recognition stuff. Oh, this is amazing! Look at this. We'll be fantastic. We'll be doing the community service. Nobody thought, hang on a minute, this is a privacy nightmare. And my God, we're going to get
Amazon don't really have a great track record regarding privacy, do they? They have multiple GDPR violations, data retention issues of Alexa and Ring, and it's just no.
I mean,
just no.
Look, I think I get the idea here. Community safety, what a great idea! Something happens, you can leverage these together. It becomes a right way to provide for surveillance and especially things like that, and help provide video footage if there's an emergency, that kind of stuff. But as you say, given what's happening in the US right now, this doesn't look like, this becomes very Orwellian and very much a surveillance state that the Chinese would be envious of.
And then you find out ICE has access to the Flock system, and
it goes downhill from there, doesn't it? Rapidly.
It does.
So I kind of. And the only good thing is, in the UK, we could probably not get away with this because of privacy rules, regulations, GDPR, the UK equivalent as well. I think we're okay here. I
Okay.
think, but
Still, look, I would still like to get away from Ring.
I would.
But I had to buy my old one died. I had to buy a new one. I couldn't find one that would fit into my use cases because I don't have a hard wire. I can't run a Cat5 cable to where it is. So it had to be battery powered. And I had to work on Wi-Fi, and I didn't want to have yet another frigging hub. But we did hear the other day that there's more rumors about Apple making their own doorbell, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and
I
I
would probably buy that
personally,
in a heartbeat.
I was just going to say, do you know why? Because we could leverage the iCloud secure video storage.
Exactly. Yep,
And
I would probably buy that in a heartbeat. I trust them a lot more than I do Amazon, and it'll probably be a better bit of kit.
Yeah, and you know what? But the fact it ties into the device that I currently use, carry around 24/7 effectively, and if it's leveraging secure iCloud video storage, which I'm paying for but not actually be able to use because it's included, I'd buy one in a heartbeat as well. I think cost is probably going to be obviously the key driver.
Yeah, but I don't mind paying paying extra for better privacy.
No, not at all, not at all. And having integrated applications and that kind of stuff that Apple would provide, I think would be really, really good. So,
and Apple aren't going to charge a subscription, are they? You're paying for your iCloud storage, basically. It just comes out of that.
So the hardware cost would be slightly more because I think they'll put that in it. But you and I both know it's going to be a decent product. And again, a bit like the phone, they didn't invent the phone market, they didn't invent the video doorbell market, but you know full well if they launch into it, it'll be one of, in the words of Carlsberg, it'll probably be the best video doorbell in the world.
Quite possibly. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that one because if they bring it out, I'll be buying one and get rid of the Ring pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. All right then, that's probably a good place. Oh no, one more story before we get into that. So
it's bad news time.
Yeah, it is bad news time. So the other week you told us that we couldn't afford any RAM anymore.
No, because we can't afford any GPUs or any
SSDs, GPUs. I couldn't have. So let's get started. I can't afford to buy any RAM, and plus, if you could afford to buy it, there's none left anyway. No. I can't afford any GPUs, and if I could afford one, there's none left anyway.
There's no RAM to put in GPUs.
And now Western Digital have just come out in the last few days, and have basically said that if you want a hard disk, you're out of luck because all their production's been brought up till 2028.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So they've said in the quarterly review or whatever it is that the entire production capacity for 2026 has been sold out. Bearing in mind it's only February, it's fully booked. They've also signed long-term agreements with 2 top customers for 2027 and 1 for 2028. So, what might that reason be, you ask? I'm gonna let you have a guess, Jay. Why do you think we have no hard drives?
I know why. Because all of a sudden the world has decided that they want to go back to spinning rust, and we've built huge NASes. No.
It begins with an A and ends with an I, and has nothing.
Oh, hang on a minute. I've just tripped over it.
yeah. Oh, they're just buying up everything basically. So, but don't worry, that's only Western Digital.
They're buying it up with money that doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, it's not just Western Digital, is it? There are only 3 manufacturers nowadays of hard drives. Yep. Western Digital, Seagate, and Toshiba. Toshiba's not very big. You can bet top dollar that the AI companies are also speaking to them.
Yep.
So, no RAM, no GPUs, no SSDs, no hard drives. It's a bad time to basically be wanting anything electrical.
I would, it is.
Because this isn't just computers and Xboxes, it's everything this is affecting now.
Well, I mean, Steam have said, haven't they, that the OLED Steam, what they call it?
Steam Deck.
Steam Deck. I couldn't think of the word of it. They're out of stock pretty much, or will be out of stock
all
very shortly.
Steam Deck versions in the US are out. I did have a look the other day at the UK, and we still had them in stock. How long? Who knows?
I wouldn't suspect very long at this rate.
No.
It is not a good time. So kind of keep what you've got, look after it, make sure it keeps working, because if you want something else, you've got to have deep pockets.
You have indeed.
Right. In that side then, let me... All right. As I said, we've found a couple of tasty morsels floating around in the bucket here. So first one is, it's kind of not new, but we kind of talked about it a little while ago.
We have talked about it before, yeah.
Is that there is rumours now that the iPhone 18 Pro will get 5G via satellite, or at least will be able to support the capability to have 5G over satellite links. So we already know now that several, the iPhone for several
Yep.
generations now supports emergency SOS via satellite, which thankfully I've never had to use, but is a very, very cool thing
You
to
can
do.
also
Isn't
text via satellite, can't you? But I've never
you
actually tried.
can
Not
never use
just
that
the
either.
emergency SOS. You can text friends and family kind of it by it as well, apparently.
Yeah. So they're now saying that, isn't it? The reports out there are now saying that the iPhone 18, that Apple's long-term vision, if you will, is to move directly to satellite communication for 5G in the future. Now, at the moment, I don't see that happening. But if you look at a lot of the what's happening in the satellite communications field, a lot of the major mobile operators are signing deals with low Earth orbit satellite constellation providers. We know
Yep.
Starlink, T-Mobile. There's AST Mobile as well that's creating new satellites to do this with large antennas in space. There was this week. It was VMO2 got sign off from Ofcom in the UK, didn't they, to start
Yes,
rolling
they
this
did.
out?
Yep.
So we're seeing that, we're seeing that roll out, and we believe that Apple's new C2 modems or the radio chips,
Yep.
which will come out there, will support the ability to have what they call NRN-NT.
NRNTN.
Thank you. I couldn't get that out of my mouth.
But basically, direct internet access via low Earth orbit satellites.
Yeah. That would definitely mean cell phones working on a plane. Oh my god.
I had my trip to the US, and I was told I was getting Starlink on one of my planes.
I know you were so disappointed.
I did not get Starlink on one of my planes, so I still don't know if it's any good on an airplane.
Well, I see all this stuff on LinkedIn, and people going, "Oh, like it's 200 meg. I can stream Netflix, and it's awesome." And I'm like, there's me sat on a BA flight the other day to the US, and there's the old, I can't remember what band I can't remember what band they've got on there, and it's you can't stream anything on it, and it drops out every few minutes, and it's just painful, to be honest with you.
That was it. I had my trip from Heathrow to San Francisco, and I paid £20 or somewhere about that for the internet, the full internet package while I was there, and it probably only worked for about 30 minutes. It was with T-Mobile, I want to say. It was terrible. But then when I was flying back and I had to go to New York, I came with T-Mobile, but it was brilliant. I could actually stream. I could stream some YouTube. They cut it down to like 720p or whatever, but I could stream YouTube and browse the internet, and it all worked. There was some obvious latency, but it worked. Which is what I was expecting. And I only paid $8 for that one, but the £20 one was not fit for purpose.
Well, BA was, I think, was it $11.99 for 4 hours or whatever, or 15 quid for the flight. And I was doing, funny enough, I was doing some work on the way out there, and I just worked my way back. But it's just, it's painful to say the least.
It was.
They do free messaging. If you be a Wi-Fi, club member, the flying club, you can get free messaging across certain applications, but not all of them. So, but there's no attachments, so don't send any pictures or GIFs.
Yeah.
I want, as much as my, I know I do a lot around Starlink research and that, and I've got feelings against Musk. I just want a service that works, and we know it works. We know it works.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, if I get on my phone on the plane and just use satellite one, that'd be awesome. The airlines might not like it so much.
Yeah, look, I'll be interested. I would quite love a phone with satellite connectivity. There was rumors that SpaceX was going to release a phone close to IPO that would have direct phone to satellite communication capability, for cellular, and they would have their own one to boost up, the I guess sales and boost up, the kind of view on it. Nothing's come out about that further, but would be an interesting proposition, isn't it? It kind of gets rid of the middleman,
Maybe they're going to work with Trump Mobile.
You had to go and say that, didn't you?
Another mythical mobile device. But yes, moving swiftly on.
All right, so what's the last rumor then we've got for this week?
Okay, so this is what we talked last week, didn't we, about the redesign of the App Store, potentially in preparation for the new MacBook Pros with M5 Pro and Max chips. Well, a YouTuber, Vadim Yurvi, has noted that there was no sign of an M5 Pro chip in the recent beta code leak. Okay, there was for the Max, but not for the Pro. which is rather odd. In your leaks software, you usually have all the upcoming chips in there. So, but he says he's figured out why, and he's speculating that the reason the M5 Pro chip was not showing up in the leak was that Apple is using the new 2.5D chipset we talked about last week, allowing them to use a single M5 Max chip designed for both the Pro and the Max models, saving Apple lots of money on SKUs and designs.
Okay.
So basically, they are taking the M5 Max and they're doing binning, aren't they?
Where
some of the cores have failed, so that's a lower SKU version. But it would also allow them to say that if you want a MacBook Pro with we want to max out the GPU cores and the RAM, you'll still need the Max variant. But if you don't, you can have the Pro variant, which is just a bin version of the Max.
I'm not surprised if this is what they're going with. It makes a lot of sense.
Just also because, as we mentioned last week, they are moving to this new process where the GPU isn't in the same chip as the CPU anymore, isn't it? It's split back out into chiplets.
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't need two real separate chips, do they? It's the same thing, just depending on how many chiplets you use.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe it does seem like it's logical they could do it, and I guess you're right. Given Apple, it helps with their manufacturing costs, and 99.9% of consumers who buy this will have no idea that even technology exists.
No, not at all.
So yeah, I mean, look, it would give you, as you say, that new configuration tooling that they're talking around. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Be interested to see what happens come a couple of weeks time when these supposedly come out, and whether or not the configurators give you that deep flexibility that we've been talking about on it. It's not implausible, is it? Let's be honest.
No, exactly. So yeah, we'll find out a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's not long now.
No, it is not. It's going to fly by indeed. Yep. All right, well, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. We'll be back next week with the latest tech news and stories ahead of the Apple event, in case any more rumors have dropped by then. You can, of course, find us at techrun.online, where, of course, you find all our show notes, other information, and we're on Blue Sky as well. Again, if you'd like to get in touch with us, tell us anything you like on that point. Or if we've got something wrong, please do let us know as well. We value your feedback. So with that, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good day, all.